And I now straight away call upon Hassan, and the podium is yours.
Thank you very much, Richard. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be here today. I'm extremely grateful for the invitation to talk about an area of utmost importance for the AFC, more specifically upholding the integrity of its competitions. In other words, combating the menace of match fixing or match manipulation, which is by far the greatest threat to football today. Before I go into the details of the measures that we have in place to combat match fixing, I'll just provide a very brief overview of AFC and, more importantly, match fixing itself, because it's very important for everyone to understand the concept in order to be on the same page. So I'll start with AFC. AFC is one of the 6 continental confederations of FIFA. We have 47 members. In layman terms, you can refer to them as countries. We call them our members. FAM is one of our members. And we proudly say that we're the FIFA's most populous confederation, considering countries such as India and China are our members. If you look at our competitions, we look at football, futsal. That's okay. Football, futsal, and beach soccer lately, men's and women's competitions. Our premier tournament is the Asian Cup, which was held in Australia earlier this year. You might be familiar with our club competitions, which includes the AFC Cup, which was recently won by JDT, first ever Malaysian club to win the tournament. Yep, we can have a round of applause there. And of course, the AFC Champions League. Now coming back to integrity. Now there are a number of definitions out there for match fixing or match manipulation. It's primarily the same thing. Longer ones, complicated ones. The easiest one that I could find was that it is defined as improperly influencing the result or course of a game for advantage. Now there are 2 key words in this definition. Number 1, improperly. So why is match fixing improper? Primarily because it negates the values of football. Football believes in the spirit of fairness. It believes that outcomes should depend on the merits of the competing teams, and the result should remain uncertain until the match is actually over. I come to the second keyword, which is advantage. So what are the advantages to be gained from match fixing, or in other words, the motivations from match fixing? There are 2. Number 1, future team advantage. We call it the sporting fix. For example, is an agreement between 2 teams to ensure a desired outcome, a certain result, for purposes such as avoiding relegation or advancement within or to a high-level competition. The second one, which is the largest circle, is we call it betting fraud, and the motivation is financial gain, which predominantly involves organized crime, getting players or officials on their payroll to ensure desired outcomes, and they use that knowledge to put money on the betting market and make illicit gains. Main targets for match fixers include players, referees, coaches and managers, player agents, club owners, football administrators. It's a wide spectrum. The reason why I have players and referees in red is just basic knowledge that for a fix to be successfully carried out, you need someone to do it on the pitch. So whenever you have match fixing successfully being executed, it's either the players or the referees. Other people more or less are involved, but it's definitely occurring there. The modus operandi, we've seen cases happening in international matches across the world, competitions, 4 levels, friendly matches, national league matches, and even counterfeit matches, where match fixers have actually brought fake teams to certain countries and conducted competitions, and the matches are offered on the betting market, and so they have that team on their payroll. International friendlies is lately the trend that is predominant, because it's easier to convince players to lose a match which does not have a repercussion on your advancement for a particular high-level competition. For example, World Cup qualifiers would be comparatively difficult for match fixers to target those as opposed to international friendlies. So how does a match fixer make an approach? There are different ways. Directly, gifts, money, favors. We had a case of Lebanese referees in Singapore. It's all over the media, which is in 2013. where they received sexual favors the night before a match and were consequently suspended. Sorry, I laugh because Lazarus was involved heavily in that case. He's my former colleague from AFC. Indirectly through family, friends, club sponsorships, grooming over a long period from a young age, and exploiting previous issues, for example, outstanding loans or a drug problem. Research suggests 5 steps in fixing a match: gaining access to a player, setting them up, meaning wooing them, gaining their confidence, calling the fix, demanding what fixes require, expecting performance, and if the performance is successful, then payment. The reasons, the causes for increased match fixing, the primary one is the merger of development communications as well as the developments in betting markets, which has made it easy and accessible for people, for example, sitting in the comfort of their dressing room or their lounge to bet money on matches if they have knowledge of matches being fixed specially. And the betting markets development is one of the primary reasons because you can have wider range of products that are offered: half time, full time, the total number of goals, what is the score going to be at half time, the Asian handicap. There's a lot of options available. A lot of bookmakers offer anonymity and higher limits, mostly in Asia. Worldwide, over 400 billion is estimated to be bet on football each year. In our flagship tournament in the Asian Cup, per match 50 million was bet per match, and multiplied by 32 matches, approximately 1.6 billion. The colors in red, the countries marked in red are basically, this is from Interpol, it marks allegations in the open source media on match fixing, not specifically football, but it's generally allegations of match fixing reported in open source media. And this is 2 years back. So we can possibly say that there are more reds by now.
I notice Malaysia is red.
Sadly, yes. Oh, it is. Green, sorry, is red, yes. Red.
Singapore?
Maps in front of you.
I noticed America is red.
2013 only. That's 1 year. That's what I'd say. Only for the year 2013. So the third reason for incidences of increased match fixing, involvement of organized crime, primarily because they're looking for high profit and low risk. You've got to understand that match fixers are usually in the background, as I mentioned earlier. They're not going on the pitch, they're not exposing themselves. For them, match fixing is very easy to actually pay players who are referred to as naive targets. Their match fixing is being worked across age groups, starting from under 16 and onwards. So you can imagine the age of players, how young they are. They become easy targets. You buy them gifts, you take them out, you can woo them in many ways. And primarily, another reason for involvement of organized crime, which in itself is also one of the reasons for increased match fixing, limited law enforcement capability. Either varying interests, lack of understanding of the phenomena, or the legislation, or the absence of legislation completely.
Where's the AV?
Someone is fixing it.
Yeah, someone is. Okay. So brings me to the core question: why does football and match fixing go hand in hand? Why is it such a perfect blend? And my answer is that for a partnership to ideally prosper, agreement between parties is required. Common ground has to be established. Therefore, football is global, sports betting is global, and organized crime is global. That is why match fixing and football go hand in hand, because they're all global nature. Now there is an unfortunate aspect to this, which we say that match fixing might end up being the same as a drug problem, which means we might be able to curb it, or we might not be able to eliminate it completely. The only positive aspect out of this is that people like myself would always have a job. Other than that, there is no positive that comes out of it. Yeah. So, coming, the reason I said why match fixing is the greatest threat to the game of football: decrease in reputation, loss of TV rights, sponsorships, fan base, merchandising, and obviously bans from football. You're losing players and officials. If they're none to play, the game would obviously end. Now, this brings me to the second part of the presentation, which is we understand that it's the greatest threat to football. What are we doing about it? And that is where the AFC integrity measures come into place. The objective of the measures is very straightforward. That is to prevent, detect, and respond to match fixing in AFC competitions. And we've devised measures for each. Under prevention, we have good governance, awareness raising and training. Under detection, we have monitoring and reporting. And under responding, we have investigation and sanctions. I'll start with good governance under prevention. It is very important for a sports governing body to have appropriate regulations in place to deem illicit behavior sanctionable. Very basic rule: if you don't recognize something as unacceptable, how do you prevent it? So AFC regulations, which are applicable to our players and officials, are that obviously you cannot influence or attempt to influence the conduct or outcome of a game in an unsporting, unethical, or corrupt manner. You're not allowed to bet on matches connected with football, no betting whatsoever. You have an obligation to immediately report any information linked to match fixing, and then obviously no divergence of confidential information, which could jeopardize integrity of a match. An example being, you know about referee appointments, and you, for example, you're working within the AFC, and you know about the referees being appointed for a particular tournament 2 weeks in advance, and you leak that information, and match fixers have a particular referee on their payroll. That information could actually put them at an advantage, and they could work on that particular referee. That's just one example. The starting lineup, revealing what player is injured. If you don't have a strong goalkeeper playing, that information could go out and help fixes and actually influencing the outcome. Our regulations are up on the AFC website, our statutes, our disciplinary code, code of ethics, and code of conduct, and they are downloadable from our website. So consequences in blue I have as per AFC regulations. You could potentially be looking at, we say we adopt a zero tolerance policy against match fixing. The highest sentence could be a life ban from any involvement in football activity, fines, suspensions in terms of clubs, exclusion from competitions, demotion.